Well, I'd say it looks like bank earnings kicked off with a little bit of bite out there. I don't know about you. Looks like the market turned a little bit sour on this thing this morning. S&P 500 futures down about 45 bucks right at the moment. And ouch. Looked like we were going to rally up, maybe make a new high, and then slamming right back down. Whew. Anyway, Infinity, Larry, Don, Wade, Dan, Steve, Sergio, David, Valerie, Philip, Kenneth, Robert, Kimberly Moore, Craig, Michael, Donald, excuse me, Terrence, Arturo, Zub, Ted, Keith. Good morning, everybody. Gary, Joseph, Nikki. Good morning, Alan, Francois, Laura, Parley, Lorene, Merle, Eric, Jason, Diesler. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Fabulous Living, good morning. Don't recognize your name, but good morning. Wrongimer, glad to see you as always. Got Lieutenant Colonel Goose on the road. He's going to come visit me today. And how's everybody going? How's everybody doing? So far, so good, right? Till the market opens, then we panic and freak out. And hair's on fire. Well, I don't got much of that left. So, welcome to the show. And let's just start here and get it over with. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. That means I might never get another thing right again, and you might not either. I mean, we may never get another trade right. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. Now, this presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything at all. No stuff from gurus, no stuff from me, no stuff from the market. No stocks, no options, no bonds, no forex, no futures, no cryptos, no treasuries. Don't buy them, don't sell them, don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. It all involves a substantial risk of loss. Even the treasuries, yes, even the treasuries. And why not stuff from me? Well, you got to make sure you trust me. All right. If you don't trust me, don't buy stuff from me. If you don't trust it, don't fall for a slick sales presentation somebody gives you on the internet. All right. I mean, everybody out there is just trying to make some of your money into some of their money. I mean, that's kind of how life works, right? Whether it's McDonald's or the plumber or, a financial advisor. Everybody's just trying to make some of your money into some of their money. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. It's not what I do. I'm not trying to give you any advice on anything except to be smart with your money. I mean, I think it's a universal applicable thing, but hey, common sense, not so common these days. And here we are on Friday. Like I said, we've got this consumer sentiment coming out here at 10 o'clock after the market opens. So we got about 40 minutes to go. I may or may not still be live when that hits. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Halving event coming up in a week. Halving event coming up in a week. And what does that mean? That's Bitcoin halving right here. BitcoinHalving.com. We got about 1,100 blocks to go. This thing, we've been counting down. 4 years ago, we had the last halving. We started down a path. 210,000 blocks till the halving. We're down to the last 1,100. It's going to take us about 7 days to get there. 7 days, 15 hours. So it'll be later in the day, Friday. Do I expect anything to instantly happen? Well, I expect the payout per block to instantly get cut in half. But beyond that, not really. Not really anything instantly to happen. No. In the following 6 months, as the supply of Bitcoin hits the market, the supply shock, the supply reduction of Bitcoin hitting the market kind of gets digested, I do expect we see prices appreciate quite a bit. We've seen this happen basically 4 cycles before. There's been 3 halving events, essentially 4 cycles, and this will be the 4th halving, and we'll see the next cycle get going here. Bitcoin climbing a little bit and just kind of parking, pulling back slightly. We saw the dollar rallying strongly overnight. And if you want to actually see the blocks as they get mined out, the transactions, wow, looks like it's For some reason, it's really expensive to get transactions in Bitcoin right now. Holy guacamole. Wow. 991 Satoshis per virtual byte. There's some people paying big money to get transactions on Bitcoin right now. Look at that. Holy moly. Since I've been watching this, I haven't really seen the transactions ramp up like that. Look at 5,000 transactions trying to get in there. 4,000, 5,000, 4,000, 4,000. Wow. Almost 200,000 transactions sitting out here. Whew. There's a bunch of somebody's trying to push through a bunch of transactions. Or a bunch of somebody's. That's that's interesting to me. And the prices, look at that. That makes mining very lucrative when the prices are high. Because the transaction fees are on top of the block reward. Let's see what median fee was $23.92. Total fees 2.46 bitcoins on top of so 8.71 bitcoins was the total reward for that block. Interesting. That's the subsidy was 6.25, which will get cut in half. The subsidy fee is what we're talking about, getting cut in half. Subsidy goes from 6.25 bitcoins down to 3.125 bitcoins at that magic block. That magic block being 840,000 right here. So this was block number 838,870. So when we get to 840,000, cuts right there. Cuts right there. I mean, that's an indication of demand for Bitcoin, right? Or demand for transactions. I don't know about Bitcoin going up, but there's a lot of transactional demand right now. That's interesting. I haven't really, since I've been watching this particular tool right here, mempool.space, for almost a month now. I haven't seen, I don't sit here and watch it all day, every day, but I haven't seen I've never loaded it up and seen 5,000 transactions trying to go through on the current block. And this is more transactions that I've seen piled up out here. Now, a few weeks ago, there were 220,000 transactions out here trying to go through for like 1 Satoshi per virtual byte. But, it's just a bunch of people trying to be cheap, But these are dark orange, all of them. That means there's a lot of people trying to pay pretty good money to try to get their transaction through. That's just the way that's just the way Bitcoin works. People are trying to make transactions. So it seems to be a bunch of smaller transactions going through. We were seeing a bunch of bigger blocks go through before, like these bigger chunks right here. These are chunks. These are virtual bytes on the block. So they're not necessarily transaction sizes. They're amount of data that needs to take up in the block right here, like these right here. You can see what all goes into there. Whole bunch of small, teeny tiny transactions there. 121. So if you were to inscribe a Satoshi, you're going to take however much information that you're trying to commit to the block, those bytes of data that you're trying to put into the blockchain, you're going to pay per byte. And I mean, right now, that's 280 Satoshis per virtual byte was the median fee right there. So mining, minting, if you had a 2 megabyte, you'd be paying pretty good money just to get that 2 megabyte chunk of data out there and cement it into the block. That one just now hit. There you go. You can see all the little bitty transactions in there. They're all color coded and stuff. If you want to play with this, mempool.space. It's free tool for anybody to go play with and watch this. And you can see the difficulty. We're actually running behind right now. 24 blocks behind. And halving coming up. Yeah, this is estimating April 20th. The other tool, bitcoinhalving.com, estimating roughly the 19th. And I guess it depends on where you live in the world, where the server is. It'll probably be the 20th UTC time. For everybody in the east, the far east, it'll be the 20th. For me here in the United States, it'll probably be the 19th. Still, oops, too many back keys. Anyway, enough about that, right? Enough about that. Moving on. S&P 500. Nice reversal yesterday. But as I was starting out there, turning a little bit sour on these banking earnings here overnight. Actually, as we came in the morning, look at that. Look at that. Ouch. Now, interesting enough, run the fib line from yesterday, run it from today, we bounced right in the same support zone. You know, yesterday we dipped a little lower than I expected. I actually bought a long ES contract and rode it up right near the close and got tagged out right at the end yesterday. It was a pretty good little trade. Just one contract, just riding. And nice deep retrace. This might be, it's not a very clean one, but it might be a 1-2. Of course, that could be an A-B. Not very clean either way. It's not a clear 5 waves up and not a clear, well, you could say a fairly clear 3 waves up with a 5 wave in that move right there. But it tagged the 1618. Usually when we tag the 1618, we result in a more bullish move. Now this is retracing, holding this zone right here. If we turn this green again, certainly if we break back above this little mini consolidation right there, we're probably going to break on higher and go to an all-time high. We kind of came up short of this consolidation area that we did all last week. I mean, heck, well, I guess that was earlier this week, really. And it started last week, into this week. Early this week, that consolidation, we came up right shy of it and retraced. Now, do we go again? I don't know. In Q, this has been the tell. We made that higher low while the S&P made a lower low. The S&P made a lower low here, right there on Wednesday. In Q, which is NASDAQ, the futures for NASDAQ, did not make a lower low right there. And that was the tell to me that we were probably going higher yesterday. And right here, look at this. From that low to that high, we're still holding a 50% retrace. So this is still set up quite bullish compared to S&P. Now, due to the nature of the way this all works, the fact that the Magnificent Seven are all in NASDAQ, it's going to probably drag S&P higher if NASDAQ goes higher. So that's just a... Why do I watch all these different components? Because they all fit together. And then Russell over here, not looking as awesome. This did set up, for those of you in opening bell alerts, did set up a gap down today. We may rally back up and fill it. Not sure. Could go fast, could go slow. Could happen while I'm live here and I'm just not able to trade it. But we did have a gap down. So watch for that trade. There you go. I probably won't be looking until I'm done here because I don't trade live. And that may pop really quickly. So there you go. This still looks, that looks more of a clear 3-wave up. Find a resistance at that 30-minute roadmap line. We'll see. We'll see. Resistance is back up there, and I kind of do expect that to climb again. Oh, let's see. My buddy Cracker Barrel. Oh, who wanted to doubt we were going to hit the target? Look at that. Termite Trading Lab people. Y'all remember when I called that? Bum, 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 bum. Look at that. Now we could still play out to the bigger target down here. Look at that. Sometimes I get lucky. Gosh, when was that? Right back. I don't even remember. Back. It was somewhere back here. Pretty sure. Maybe it was on that earnings. February? No, I think it was further back than that. Pretty sure it was further back than that. Anyway. Once again, there you go. Just happened to get lucky. And oil. Look at this. Trying to break out, baby. 90, next upside resistance. 100 is where I really expect it to go. Right there. Yeah, Jason, there you go. Yeah. Jason in the chat saying he bought some puts on Cracker Barrel. Paying out, baby. Hopefully it's paying out. Hopefully the theta has not got you. That's the thing about these plays that take a little while. Sometimes the theta get you. Gold, look at this monster. Pushing through 2,400. And 24 briefly, just briefly resistance, looks like. And we may push on higher significantly. 2,500, probably the next upside stopping point would be my guess. That was a nice 30-minute roadmap bounce right there, right up to the 1618. We could find some resistance and pull back. Could pull back to the roadmap line again. We've been doing that pretty consistently here on this 30-minute. Pulling back, rallying up, pulling back, rallying up. We could go higher on the fib lines and then pull back again and rally up. So this has been quite fascinating to me. Made some pretty good little trades in here. I hadn't actually traded options on GC before the last couple weeks, and made some pretty good little trades. GLD may be more attainable for some people, but the chart's not quite as clear as you can see right here. Not quite as clear. A lot of gappiness. So I've actually been using the GC chart to make my decisions, not the GLD chart. But those $300 calls I bought back when everybody thought I was full of crap, back here, they're doing pretty darn good right now, I have to say. I bought them back in here, back in this zone, back in November, December area. More recently, jumped onto NEM. Grabbed that one right down in here with some $60 calls. And those are up like 200%. I guess 200% so far. We're only up to 40. 60 still a ways up here. But this one, heck of a potential if this actually gets going. We could be talking 100, 120. Mora. Now, a couple people feel like they're behind on what I've talked about. So let's pop over here. Look at this right here. The bigger story is not what's been happening right now or what's going to happen in halving or anything like that. It's the price pattern right here. This is all about the price pattern. Is pretty much the only thing I've been paying attention to. And this has a nested setup right here. That was a very clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a retrace. As long as we hold higher than this low right back here, this thing is primed to rally. Now, it does have lots of resistance above us, and it doesn't have to do that. It can just fail and go down and be a bummer. But it's sitting here, all right? Now, when we go up even higher, it's got the same pattern. All right, it's a fractal situation. That was a 30-minute chart I was just on, off of the lows. Zooming out, it's the same pattern with a bigger upside potential. And you see what it did, like, see what it did last time. We had the halving right here in May. But Bitcoin miners, they're going to get paid less. Whoops. Hit the key. Bitcoin miners are going to get paid less when the halving happens, right? Yeah. and then they came back down. Does it happen again? Quite possibly. That's what I'm kind of banking on, all right? I'm not banking on the long-term viability. This is not like a lifetime purchase. This is at play, looking for this pop. When it's done, and I'm out. Like, I'm not, like... When this happens, I'm probably out. I'm not married to this baby. Just want to make it clear for those of you that have been a little confused on what's happening here. So... All right. I suspected we would see a pullback. I thought it was going to be Bitcoin and miners. Turns out Bitcoin's rallying ahead of time. And my copywriter Dave, showed me these charts yesterday. I need to pull these up. Maybe it's 2 days ago. I want to share them with you really quickly. Let's look at something. And let's see. Open a new window. Look at this. This is Bitcoin in red, Mora and Riot. The white vertical line is the halving. You see Mora and... Where did that even go? What the heck? What the heck? Looked like Slack crashed. Cool. All right, let's see if we can find... Let me see if I can pull that back up again. That was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Love it when things do stupid stuff. All right, pull it back up again. Here we go. Bitcoin, positive 75%. Mora and Riot, negative 75%. That was pre-halving. All right, that's the halving right there. Now, look at this. Let's close that one. Bring this one over. This is for the year after halving. Same colors. Bitcoin's in red. Mora in green. Riot in blue. For the, having that little halving vertical line right there. That's for the year following. All right. Is it about fundamentals? Absolutely not. Is it about hypium and hopium and excitement that people get around Bitcoin? Absolutely. All right. Just trying to take advantage of something that I think is going to happen. If you don't think it's going to happen, don't trade it. That's the whole thing, right? I'm not telling you to do it. I'm sharing my excitement for something that I think is probably going to happen. It might not. I mean, I do occasionally get these wrong. I might be wrong here. I kind of expected this to hold a higher low, and it didn't. It went much deeper. Has a very nice nested pattern in here. It can let me down. There's been plenty that let me down before. Plenty of other patterns that I was pretty excited about. They just ended up being lame. So pick your spots. Don't put all your money in one trade. I mean, I do have a substantial chunk of my family's money in this because I kind of believe it. Now, another one I believed before. Let me just... This goes back before I was even a guru, okay? Get the right chart. We have to fly back to a time long, long ago. This is a little different show today. Right here. Right here. This had a different ticker back then. Right there. Gold looked pretty horrible, all right? Not gold Barrick mining, but gold, the metal. We could go look at that in a second. But that right there, it was actually... Where was it that I bought? Yeah, I bought... It was right there. I bought about $50,000 worth of contracts. No, it wasn't that big. It was $10,000. About $10,000 worth of contracts right there. And then, you know what happened? I bought them at about $10. No, $10? $12. I'm pretty sure it was $12. $12 options. They were like pennies. I mean, like 50 cents or something like that, right? About like $10,000 worth. You know what happens when your $12 strike option goes that far in the money, you make your mom's money back that she lost in a Ponzi scheme. And that was before I was a guru. I mean, in fact, I probably liquidated it all out right there. I bet. Yeah. I think I liquidated it right there at 22. I was $10 in the money. My like 50-cent options went to like $10. I was out before COVID because I used that money through COVID when it dropped. So I'm just sharing, like, this is not the first time I make a big bet on something I think's going to happen. All right. I'm just sharing it with you. All right. I don't have I can't sit here and produce all the bank statements and stuff like that. That was that was a long time ago. So we can't use that in promos. We don't tease that. I don't talk about that. But I made my mom's money back right there on that pop. And it actually exceeded, actually, I didn't hold through COVID. I know I didn't hold through COVID. I got out right up in there, used that money to, turn 250,000 into 1.4 million that we do claim, because I do have some of those statements. And that trade, for those of you that maybe are new here, I do have these charts right over here. I do keep them for a record. Look at this. This was my COVID trades. All right, well, some of them. This is about a third of them. Look right here. I had bought back in February, exit 88, 1150 profit. 88 contracts I had riding on this. I bought 117 contracts right there. I sold 110 of them up here. I bought right here, look, buy 60, buy 80 right there. I spent 275, a couple days difference. Sell 140 of them right there. $20 profit. All right. If you can catch the twists and turns, it's crazy. I sit here and wait for these opportunities. Every day I'm sitting here hunting for these. That's why I go through these charts every day. Watch them every day. Bitcoin, look at that move. We're consolidating up here. Now, the whole other pattern that plays out, this plays out, right? We get these crazy moves, we get this complacency, then we retrace. Bum everybody out. This is where I'm always looking for. I'm looking for the point to enter down here. When everybody's bummed out about something. Then we can write it up because we get this whole move. And then I usually am out somewhere in the thrill part. I don't usually want to ride through the euphoria because that's where it gets scary. That's when everybody's a genius. That's a lot like the market right now. So, more potential. We did that spike, and then we went through this bummed out thing. I added more stuff. We're back into the potential to run, but we're not there yet. All right. Does it have anything to do with fundamentals? Not really. It's just people being people. All right. That's all these patterns I follow are just people being people. And that's why they don't make any sense when you look at the fundamental chart. From a fundamental perspective, none of this should do this crazy moves. All right. So Bitcoin, are we consolidating before we drop? Are we consolidating before we pop? The smaller time frames say we're 70% likely to go tag this 77 right there. That may or may not happen before halving. It may happen right on halving. I don't know. We're holding up pretty good right here. We're holding a good uptrend of lows. That's like the initial sign. If we break that, it's probably coming lower. We've been hovering. We've been hovering right here. Usually when we hover high, we'll pop before we drop. Be a wave 4 of some sort before we do a wave 5. The wave 5 could take us, it could be explosive. It could go up to 80,000. It could go up to 100,000. there's no telling, like, with the excitement that gets built up at the end. But the end is probably near on this move, and we'll do a big retrace. And that will probably happen after the halving, when everybody's like, I thought halving was bullish. Because it usually takes about 6 months after halving to actually get going. This period of time where we just sit. Right there. We just sat for about 180 days, roughly. Time before that, well, it's not on this chart. Let's go to the all-time history. Just want everybody, like, this is coming up, and you're going to hear a lot more about it in the next week because it's happening next week. See that one right there? That's the one I just did. The one before that, zoom her up, Buttercup. Look, we did a crazy pop. Dropped right in front of halving, kind of rallied into it. After halving, look at that retrace. This may very well be what we do this time. Look, we dropped 40% from that high down to that low after halving. Now, you see this high right over here? That was the high we had made the halving before. We didn't even break that. Didn't even break that. For about 250 days after halving. And really, we didn't leave it behind until almost 300 days after halving. All right. Now, this time seems different. We got something different playing out, but maybe it's this move right here. We just went a little higher, and we're going to get a 40% pullback. Just throwing it out there, right? Maybe we're accelerated. Maybe we're already to this point, ahead of halving, because we made a new high. But that, if we're already to like this point, that's a 35% pullback, almost a 40% pullback. Looking at this chart right here, the current Bitcoin chart. Let's suppose we did that final pop to that 77. I'm thinking we're going to see 40% pullback. $45,000. All right. Be careful. And we could go as deep as this right here. That's why this is sitting here. I entirely believe we could get a retrace that's that deep. Back to this 30 to 40,000. That's going to bum a lot of people out. All right. I don't want to be, I'm trying not to mince words. I'm trying to be completely honest with everybody. All right. That's what I kind of expect to happen. I might get it wrong. Ethereum looking more bearish. I liquidated my most. I still have a little bit. Liquidated most of my Ethereum holdings. I am kind of expecting this to drop out when the SEC classify. I'm pretty sure the SEC, 80%, maybe 85% sure the SEC is going to say, we think Ethereum is a security and the spot ETFs are not going to be approved as they are. And we're going to get a knee-jerk reaction. And that'll be a buying opportunity potentially. So I liquidated off. I'll consider adding back if and when we get down here and hold support. The dollar. It's your personal choice. ETO. This is it's an unknown time. I think we're going to get a pullback. I bought. It all depends on your time frame. My time frame, where I loaded up, was here. And actually, I've been mining since way back here in 2013. So I've been accumulating Bitcoin that I don't plan on selling So I'm not trading my Bitcoin. I mean, I'm not like that's just I'm not trading Mora. I'm not trading inside the position that I've built. All right. It's a position for the long term for what happens after this period that I expect to be kind of slow for about 200 days. Somewhere out in December, I expect us to actually break higher and get going. I mean, it may go faster. This may be overly conservative by a long shot, and we're sky high by this time. We may do the 40% pullback. It may go faster. Like the whole thing could go faster. The spot ETFs are now on the scene. Now, I could be completely wrong. We never even do a pullback. We just blast off and keep going. I don't know. All I can do is give you my best, what do you say, educated wild blank guess, EWAG, based on history and doing this for years. All right. And my thumb is peeling for some reason. That's why I keep looking down at. So Ethereum looking a little more bearish here, and I don't like it. If it was consolidating up here, it's a different story, but it's consolidating down here under that 618, which tips the odds to going deeper. Dollar hit the target last night about 2 a.m. Fired off the alert, pushing on through. Looks like if we don't just reject this right here, we're tilting the odds 70% like we were going up to 109. That target right up there. Well, let's call it 108.50. 108.60. Be a little conservative on the target. That's been hanging out there for a while. Nice deep retrace and potential to rally right back up there. Same pattern. Same pattern on everything. What's moving today? PGR was popping. We got about 7 minutes till the consumer sentiment comes out. PGR, that's probably coming back down. That was my target. That was my big target right there. And we busted on through. Find a little resistance. And we didn't. This was from back here. Not quite the right size. Oop, the wrong thing. And if it's going to be an echo of that correction, it needs to be a little deeper. May do it. Roadmap line. Ultimate support down there. GL. Whew. That one took a spill. Holy moly. Look at that. Right down. That was close enough for government work right there. I'd say that hit the target. I don't remember when I drew that, but pretty dang close right there. I don't say. SCCO. Oh. Google hit the target. 161. Got lucky again. Ciao. Now, what do I expect? We can either, this is like 3 different paths here. Four different paths, I guess you would say. Path number 1, keep going right up here, 1618. Path number 2, we grind in this area. Path number 3, we retrace. And path number 4 is we don't hold this. Now, the other part of paths 2 and 3 are that we pop up to the 1618 and that we pop up. That's the 4 potential paths right there. Path 1, path 2, path 3, and path 4. That's usually what happens from right here. As an example, Meta doing path number 1. Hadn't got there yet, but it's on the path. All right. SCCO. Golly, that was good. At some point, this will run out of steam and do a retrace, but That could be from way higher levels. UVXY. It did a reverse split. That's a bummer. This thing is so dangerous to trade unless you're trading on a short term. They keep the assets just decline and decline and decline. I mean, this is eventually going to get to the liquidation phase, and they'll have to recreate it if they're going to recreate it. I mean, the fees are expensive, and due to the backwardation I went through earlier in the week about the VIX contracts rolling over, it just eats this one alive to maintain the leverage. SVXY, on the other hand, just did a regular split, 2 for 1. This one goes up when VIX goes down. VIX not exactly going down today with the market going down. Just churning right here on the roadmap line. Could it go higher? Absolutely. Where might it go higher to? This 19 and 20 area right up here. This one doesn't always follow the patterns because it has kind of a floor at 12. So you have to, and it doesn't really ever go up in the long term. So the moves can follow the patterns, but then when they're done, we tend to get this reversion to the resting area. Historical resting is 20. Modern resting is like 12. So since the history of VIX, 20 has been kind of the base level. More modern times, since the 20 teens, the 2015 to now, 12 is kind of where we kind of hang out when nothing's really going on. But today we're at 16, almost 17. So could see a little pop. Could pop up to this 20 area right there. If you're in one of those protective positions I bought back here, liquidating it when we pop up here might be good. And looking for another one when we get back down here might be good. PALO, Palladium, popping up. But this is a horrible looking chart. Look at this. Talk about a dumpster fire of... That's not looking long-term bullish at the moment. BIIB. Looks like it's going for a lower low. GDXU. Now in 3X. Now play with leverage on gold right here. Want to leverage up some gold miners. Maybe like JT. Where would you project that thing to go? Like straight up off the lows? I have no idea. That's the lowest low right there. This is a decaying asset too. That was a reverse split. That leverage eats this one. Be careful. I'm not sure I would play that. JNUG. There's a 2X leverage. That one does have a higher low, so we could actually use this to try to guess a target up here at 59. Again, leverage does not follow the patterns. Sometimes it misses. And you're better off just going to GC and charting that and then trying to carry it over. Now, this is junior gold miners, so your GDXJ would be kind of what you're charting. And we're already getting broken out. 47 to be the upside. GDX. These are regular gold miners. 39, possibly 42 right there. AGQ. AGQ. Nice potential on that one, though. Right at the 1272. 45 will be the next move up. And if we're going for the mega rally, if this is the one, and this is ultra silver, so this is leverage silver. If this is actually going to do something crazy, when we get above 51, we could be heading to 86, possibly 105. If this is going to be the mega rally. Now I'm already long silver, just straight up SLV. Looking for the breakout. That high, that low. Look at that 31, possibly 35. I've actually been kind of expecting that 35 right there. Prepare for this stuff back here when it looked like we were getting ready to go. Back in October, November, when we did that breakout, retraced it. That was the indication that something was cooking. Right here. This was the indication something was cooking. It got a little tested your patience here. And then now we're getting rewarded if you took the bet. Placed your bets. Do you have the patience and discipline to wait for the results? NVO, probably coming back to the roadmap line. Decliners, ASML, probably coming back to the roadmap line. AVGO, probably eventually coming back to the roadmap line. MSTR, may in fact come back to the roadmap line. It's all about time frame, right? That was a giant move up. My expectation, if we get below that breakout level, maybe like breakout level, look, that was the prior high. We get back below that, probably coming back down to the roadmap line. You know, this chart is not the way Bitcoin looks. Why do these guys doing this? Because they hold almost 200,000 Bitcoins. You know, funny enough, circling back to Mora, these guys hold a significant chunk of Bitcoin too, but they're not doing that. They don't have a higher high than they had back here. So this one hadn't played out yet. That's why I feel like there's opportunity. You got to go where other people don't want to go. That's how you make the money in the market. You go to the places that people aren't looking. FNGU, probably going to retrace. ZTS, oh. Going down in a blaze of glory. Probably going to head down to 138. JPM, like I said, bank earnings, beating on the top, beating on the bottom, and still getting a big retrace. Somebody drew an arrow there that they expected it to go lower. I don't know. I don't know who might have drawn that on my chart. Team has potential to rally back up. Held the uptrend of lows. Let's go see what the consumer sentiment was. Came in light. Not a lot light, just a little light. About what I expected. It's an uptrend, but we still haven't gotten back to pre-COVID optimism levels. We're still in what? I mean, look, consumer sentiment is basically saying there was a recession here. And we had, I mean, this was a recession back here, and we're at consumer sentiment levels where, climbing out of a recession like that the government won't admit we had. Whatever. I mean, we all know it probably happened. Anyway. You can change the definition on whatever you want, but doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Cover up the numbers. AMD coming down to the roadmap line. We get below it. 80 to 100. Right down there. AMAT. Probably going to come back down to the roadmap line. QCOM. Same. This hit the watermelon seed squeeze target and just parked there. Hadn't really done anything since that. You see the watermelon seed squeeze. This right here comes from the height of the start of it. And we've just parked there. Like, what do I expect next? There's no high probability thing to expect next. And these are unreliable. It could have broken down just as easy as it broke up. The target was either that high or that low. I went up. I didn't trade it. It's unreliable. SOXX, topping out at the 1618. Roadmap line would be my expectation. SMH, topping out at the target. Look, that's doing that complacency thing. Caution. Caution, caution. Look, see that excitement? See this consolidation? See that? It's the pattern. Watch out. That can correct very violently. That's an indication that we may see a bigger down on NVIDIA and SMCI and all those other things that are in the semiconductor ETF. PDD, sitting on the roadmap line, doing nothing, doing absolutely nothing. FAS, that's 3x leverage on financials, and heading with JP Morgan. See, MS, heading down. BAC, and that one's not pulling down as much. Still has earnings out next week, it looks like. WFC. That one's not reacting there nearly as badly. That one's got earnings way out here. Let's see, who else was on the list? BlackRock and Progressive. Let's see, BlackRock, BLK. Ooh, right back to the roadmap line. Look at that. That's a beautiful setup right there. 886 potential on the upside. Or 866, excuse me, 866. TECL, Technology 3X. Looks like we're probably going to come back down. TSM. That's that excitement. That's that potential complacency. It could be a wind up to go popping again. Could be a setup to come back down here. SVIX, right back down to the roadmap line. That's another way to, like, that's a short VIX right there. Tesla. I actually took an entry right back here. I guess it was earlier, it was Monday or Tuesday. I think we're pretty much done on this. Earnings coming up right here. Maybe a turning point. We may see an outsized pop. This may be the as Rongenberg says, maybe the outlier where we get the pop on earnings instead of the historical drop. Most of the time, like high percentage of the time, we'll talk about this as we get closer to earnings. High percentage of the time we drop on earnings, but occasionally we get the pop. So this may be the outlier where we actually pop because we've just been beaten down on Tesla. You can say whatever you want to, I mean, but the charts tend to bottom several months, up to 6 months ahead of the company actually turning stuff around and the news. Like it's a whole psychology thing. Like, is the news we pay attention to because of the chart, or is the chart because of the news? And it's actually, if you can decouple your thought from this, the news that we get and pay attention to is actually due to the chart. Like Boeing's a prime example of this. We topped out back here in December, and I said that Boeing's going to go on a deep retrace. And then a door flew off, and tires fall off, and engine cowls, and people, whistleblowers, and people getting killed in parking lot, whatever. And now we're down here at the target. I didn't know any of that stuff was coming, but it's the news we're paying attention to. And once we find a bottom right here and turn higher, it's probably going to be 6 months before things start looking good again. We'll make a bottom, we'll start heading higher, and everybody's like, this doesn't make any sense. Boeing's still crap. It'll start going higher. And then the news will start changing, and everybody will be like, oh, now I see why Boeing's going up, and, then we'll get up here. So that's kind of the way these things work. All right, it's hard to decouple your thought process from this. But the news that makes the headlines, that people love stories. People are drawn to this stuff for reasons. So when the chart moves, then we start looking for reasons. And then the news, people are like, oh, I need to find bullish stories because Boeing's going up. It's not, we find bearish stories like that. That's not going to get a bunch of readers that you find bearish stories because Boeing's going up. So it's kind of the way this all works. And it's on a subconscious level that we do this. But we don't actively think about it this way. All right. This is not like part of a plan. It's just our herd mentality. And once you can start seeing that in the charts, that's where it makes a huge difference. So anyway, Baidu potentially going to touch this target down here. If it gets below that, probably going on down. Snow. Right there. I don't always get them right. Like that Baidu, I've been holding that one, holding on to it, holding on to it, holding on to it. Just done nothing. And it may break the pattern and go lower, and I may lose my little bet I placed on Baidu. Snow. This one right here. I mean, I firmly believe this was all corrective for the last 2 years, and we're probably going to make a low right down here in the below this low, or at least make an attempt to get down to that low. Now at this point, when you look at the low to the high, we're holding that 618 level. Get below it. Watch out what happens. Earnings coming up. Maybe the earnings is where we get that final flush out. If we get down there, I'm going to be looking for a position, for a long-term position in snow. They've got some cool technology I kind of believe in, but I don't believe in this stock chart. I'm not going to buy here and suffer through a 30% drawdown. S-Bucks right there. Hunting the bottom. If we break down below this 84 zone, we're probably coming on down to 78. We get below that, odds are we're coming on down to 55-ish. Right down there. This is why I say don't knife catch. You know, Goose, tell you how many times I've told him to quit knife catching. Wait for it to bottom. Wait for it to prove it's going to hold support before you buy. Or if you do buy, trying to knife catch, buy very, very small, something that's not going to kill you. And know when you're wrong. Know when you're willing to give up on that one. Or go in it with your max risk is 1% or whatever you're willing to lose. Whatever you're willing to take out back and light on fire in a fire pit. Last but not least, ARM. That's probably going to come back eventually, doing that same complacency chop before we drift on down. Alrighty, buys for the day. Dun 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 dun. Trying to zoom it up. Not using the zoom tools. All right. Got the retrace. If we can hold, that's cool. If we, this might just be part of the correction, and we might actually need a flush on down. That price I said yesterday, that 50.90, is still the bottom, and we still might crush on down, getting close to it. Retest one more lower low. This move up the last couple days, or the move up yesterday, wasn't very, I don't know, it was sloppy. I was convinced on this move, and I got out. I was not convinced on anything bigger, and we may retrace that back down before we can find a bottom. Not a lot of economic news next week. May 1st is the next FOMC meeting. So we've got 3 weeks to go before we get there. Bitcoin halving, the big event next week. Going to happen right around this 1920 next Friday. Stay safe out there. I'll be in Discord, and I'll see you guys later.